Hey there and welcome. Today we're going to be talking about the functional trainer single arm low reverse fly. This is an incredible exercise for your rear delts. There's just a couple of adjustments that you'll need to make with this variation. First thing you're going to want to do with the height arm is to make sure that you're setting this up above your head. I'm just showing you how to move it. And then the rotation arm, you want to keep it at a 1. That way you're inside the machine as much as possible and not in the middle of the gym floor. Next thing you're going to want to do is adjust your weight. So make sure you start off light and then slowly start to increase the weight every other week once you can do 20 repetitions comfortably. Once you do that, take a little step back from the cable and then step away from the machine as well. Also make sure to keep your core tight and move in a downward angle, kind of like a 45-degree angle, starting from the top and working your way down. Make sure that you do it in a slow and controlled fashion as well. But before we continue with more tips, here's a word from today's video sponsor.
I'm today's video sponsor, and if you'd like help losing fat or gaining muscle, there are a few ways I can help you down below. Either set up a free consultation with us, purchase through one of our free affiliate links, or purchase one of our instant access affordable training programs. Can't wait to be of service to you. Now let's get back to the rest of the video.
Once you have those things set up, a couple of things to keep in mind to make sure you do this exercise correctly is that you're taking kind of like a neutral grip, or basically like an underhand grip type of thing, where you're kind of pulling it with all your fingers on one side of the bar there. This, I find, is the most comfortable position to do this specific variation for this exercise. Now, normally when you're doing a reverse fly, you're just going horizontally. So you're basically just keeping it parallel with the actual ground, for example. But when you do variations like this, you will recruit slightly different muscle fibers, and it's going to allow your body to continue to make progress without having to completely change your entire exercise program. Just simply, put this in. This is one variation that you can do with this exercise. It's also one thing that you can change. So you can also change your rep range. You can also change the range of motion. I never recommend you do that, but you can technically do that. You can also change the weight that you're using. You can also change the tempo. But in my opinion, keeping it simple is probably the best way to do things. So if you want to change the exercise or change it to something like this. Another thing you want to do is make sure you're standing around shoulder width apart with your glutes tight and your abs tight. And then as you're rotating, you want to make sure that you're doing it in a slow and controlled fashion. You don't want to rush it. Once you start rushing this exercise, you start missing it completely, especially if you start using momentum because the weight's too heavy. You're going to use every muscle except the rear delt. It's a very small muscle, and you'll miss it unless you do it correctly. Another key thing is to make sure you keep your elbow slightly bent. Do not bend your elbow a lot. If you start doing that, then you're going to end up missing out on the exercise because you'll see it's going to be way too easy and you're not even recruiting the rear delt at all. Now, the more you train your rear delts, the bigger your shoulders are going to look. So if that's what you're aiming for, I highly recommend you do this. Even though you can't see it, trust me, if you look at yourself on the side of the mirror after doing this for 6 months, you're going to see a huge difference in your shoulder size. So here's some common mistakes that I want you guys to avoid. Rotating as you're doing it. You want your chest to be facing forward the whole time. You do not want to rotate your torso as you're doing the exercise. If you start doing that, then you're not going to train the area that you want. Also, make sure you're doing full reps. Don't do half reps at the bottom of the range or half reps at the top of the range. Just do full repetitions the whole time. Another thing, like I said before, don't excessively bend your elbow. It's pretty comical when I do it this way, but trust me, I've seen this. You don't want to do any variation of that. Also, make sure that you keep your chin tucked and that you go at the angle of the machine. So from high to low, don't try to go across like this.